Hi everybody, Adam here. So, the topic that I want to cover today, there's a couple different topics really, and I think they're pretty interrelated. The first is willpower, what willpower is, what that means for fitness. And the second is just, is fitness fair? Like, is it a level playing field? Are we all able to compete on some degree of, fairness or equality? So, I think that when you look at the fitness industry, the vast majority of the memes and the content and, the kind of crap that you hear from, novice personal trainers and so on, seems to imply that it's all about willpower, and that willpower is the big thing that you've got to have in order to succeed at fitness. But that's really not true at all. The thing is that willpower is a finite resource. You have a certain amount of willpower, and it's used throughout your day on literally everything that you do. So maybe you had a bad day, or your boss was messing with you, or your car broke down, or you're sick, or you didn't get enough sleep last night. Whatever that is, you're taking away chunks of your willpower. And then it takes time to recover. So you can't just, immediately launch right into, more willpower stuff. And thinking that fitness should just be about willpower, that you should power it by, you should fuel it with just willpower alone, is kind of silly, because then what happens when your willpower is drained from something else that happened that day? What happens when you just naturally, have a day where you just don't feel like working out? That happens to everybody. It's really not about willpower at all. It's about rearranging habits and life choices in such a way that it makes it convenient and easy and fun for you to work out. That's why, we compete in things. That's why we, get gyms that are close to our houses. That's why we, there's so many small things that we do to optimize our lifestyle so that we can succeed at fitness. And ultimately, it's not because we willpowered our way into, doing more. It's because we simply, just arrange things so that we would succeed. We set up all the pieces in just the right way. Now, does that mean that willpower doesn't mean anything? Well, of course it means something. You can go into the gym and you can have a really easy, you could have, do some piddly, easy workout, or you could really push yourself. And certainly willpower will help with that, At the same time, if you're following some kind of program, like a program that's written by a trainer, or, a program that you found online or something, that's kind of handled for you. It's telling you what, usually it's telling you what to do, what numbers to hit, what, kind of when to train what, so you know what to do. And once you know what to do, there's a lot less, you can't do a lot of quibbling, like, oh, I don't think I should do that today, I don't feel like it. It's there, so you're going to do it. And it's, if you've got a coach or a trainer, it's even more, because then you've got that person right there to spur you on, to motivate you. So, yeah, of course you're gonna do it. But that's not willpower. Again, that's having arranged things in a way so that you've got external motivation that keeps you going. It's really much better to focus on all these tiny little external factors that make it easier and easier for you to work out, or to, eat better, or whatever, instead of just trying to, it's extremely inconvenient and, a bad, it's not convenient for you at all, but you're just going to try and willpower your way through it anyway. That's usually the worst idea, and that's not how people succeed at fitness. So it's usually much more important to just to optimize habits and lifestyle choices so that you're in a position to make the right choices, instead of just having to make the right choices at great mental hardship and stress. The other thing, and this leads directly into that, is that if we think it's all about willpower, that also implies something else, which is that the people who succeed, the people who win, the people who are the best athletes in the world are the best athletes in the world because they have superhuman levels of willpower. And I don't deny that they could probably be, maybe, have some amount more willpower than the average person. That's probably true. But at the same time, the vast majority of performance just comes from genetic factors. There's a huge range of responses to exercise. There are literally people out there who can exercise and get worse simply because their bodies just can't handle the stress of exercise very well. And on the very other end of the spectrum, you have people who barely touch a weight and they blow up and suddenly they're huge and strong. So is it willpower that causes that person who's super genetically gifted to succeed? Well, again, maybe he has some willpower, but the much more dominant factor is that he's got genetics, or she has genetics, or whoever has genetics. And there was a really good post by Greg Nuckols today. He said, it's silly to imagine that the playing field was ever fair. It's silly to get angry about steroids because you think that it makes the playing field unfair, as if the playing field wasn't massively unfair to begin with. And to succeed in a sport, the main thing is you have to have good genetics. You have to be recognized for having good genetics relatively early on in life, so you can start training and have plenty of time to get training and reach your peak potential before you hit that point where you start to age and your injuries start to pile up and you just can't do it anymore. And you just have to have access to a good coach, or you have to have access to good, training that actually does, the stuff it's supposed to in an intelligent way, as opposed to some rando who gives you a program that's complete garbage. That's the ultimate, that is the ultimate pathway to success in any kind of athletic event, is you just have to be genetically gifted, and you just have to be in the right set of circumstances that allow you to take advantage of those genetics. That's it. There's congrats. There you go. Where does willpower factor into that equation? I mean, again, it certainly is there. It certainly plays a part. It certainly keeps you on the path. It's going to certainly help. But, it's not like there's, these people that are, sitting there doing willpower tests all day to improve their willpower so that they can, do more and more draining mental stuff. That's not how willpower works, You just sort of have you have a certain amount of, fucks you're willing to give in a certain day. And, if all of your fucks are given away, then you don't have any more fucks to give, and you're just not gonna stick to your exercise plan. That's ultimately what it is. I have these issues. I have days where I just don't feel like going into the gym, and I don't. A lot of athletes, they succeed and they are able to train so hard because they have so many other factors in their life that are motivating them to succeed. They're getting paid, they're getting legitimately paid a lot of money to train all day. So of course they're going to train all day. They have all the incentive in the world to do so. They have all the incentive in the world to succeed and to perform well and to put on a good show and to beat their opponents because they're getting paid to do it. The vast majority of us don't get paid to exercise. If we did, we'd probably enjoy it a lot more, I can tell you that much. Or at the very least, we would do it. If I was to say to you, hey, your job is to go to the gym for 8 hours a day and just work out. Well, of course you're going to do it. If it'll give you a crap ton of money, it's certainly not the worst idea for a job in the world. Certainly you'll reach limits where you can't push yourself any harder. Your body doesn't want to do any more work. But you're going to do it because you've got that massive financial incentive holding you up. And it's the exact same thing with, team sports. You have a team of friends that you're working out with, you're training with. They are reinforcing all of that. They're your buddies. They want you to succeed too. They're there to provide external motivation. They've got coaches. They've got, all the state-of-the-art technology. They've got literally everything at their fingertips. Professional athletes, it's not that they have super high degrees of willpower or anything like that. We've just made it super easy for them to be people who get jacked or, get strong or get fast or whatever it is that they do. And that's not to say that this is the same in every sport, because of course there are plenty of sports where there's not a lot of money and that's not, the writing factor. And yeah, maybe if I was a marathoner where there's not as much money in, like, yeah, maybe a significant amount of willpower would be, kind of correlated with that, because I'm not making a lot of money, and it has to be sort of a passion for me and something that I'm really, willfully into. I mean, that's how I feel about powerlifting, but at the same time, those become self-reinforcing goals too. Like, if you were gonna run in a marathon, and you've committed to running in that marathon, and maybe you've got friends who've also committed to running that marathon, well, of course you're gonna go, because unless something comes up, chances are you're gonna go because you made that plan, and chances are that you're gonna train more, and you're gonna train harder, and you're gonna train more consistently because you have that overarching goal in mind, and you know what you're training for. There's a purpose. There's a reason why you're training. So, it's important to understand that so much of it doesn't boil down to willpower. It boils down to these external factors that, in some cases, in the terms of, genetics, for example, are beyond your control for the most part. But, the other stuff, it can be under your control, but, it depends. Are you going to make a career out of fitness? Are you going to be a professional athlete? Though, that does entail significant risks. That's a whole life path that you have to choose. You may or may not, enjoy that, or want to do that, or want that out of your life, or even be in the position to make that decision. So, yeah, I'd like to put to rest the idea that willpower is what is what fixes things. Willpower is the overriding factor. No, it's not. It's genetics, and it's just being in the right place at the right time. And absolutely, you can do a lot to help create that place and that time, to make sure that it is the right place and the right time. But that's about arranging your circumstances. That's not about willpower. Willpower is a finite resource. So that is it for today, everybody. As always, like, comment, share, tell me what you want to see in the future, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good night.